Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Take a look at this here, Fetch.AI at $2 even. This is fantastic. We love to see this. This is a request from one of my community members here. Deeply appreciate that. Who was asking? Hunk144. Thank you, sir. Or ma'am, appreciate it. Either way, I presume you're a male, but either way you look at it, I'm trying to get caught up on some of my requests. Apologize to anyone who has made a request and I haven't honored that yet. Really just got kind of behind last week with the holiday week, and there's been so much going on right now. It's hard to keep up with it. But what we want to look at here is, of course, some back-end liquidation data. We'll pull that up too. Also recognize kind of just best practice for situations like this, because there's no like one size fits all for this, but I can tell you that it's important to recognize, like, you know, there's certain things you can do that'll help improve your odds of success, really. And that is not just taking along blindly, but also understanding the overall sentiment of the market and just kind of, I guess, addressing the pairing between this coin and Bitcoin too, because a lot of coins are becoming more independent of Bitcoin, and it's good, and we want to see that, and identifying that's important, because you don't want to just follow coins that are one-to-one pairing with Bitcoin. Sometimes you don't get the best results with that. I guess depending on obviously how Bitcoin's performing. Even though it's doing very well, it is likely to pull back to 100,000. That's my speculation at this point. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. So now that we got liquidation levels pulled up, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at this first to give you some ideas of what's going on here. We got a lot of liquidation at 211 to 230. So folks are starting to short this coin more and more. It's funny, as you see these recent short liquidation occurs, you see new ones entering in the market. So these are just these rinse and repeat short holders. They keep shorting until they get a good entry, and then they'll probably post that that snippet, if you will, some kind of results showing how awesome they are because they shorted the top. I wouldn't trust that, folks, because honestly, if you're shorting right now, it makes no sense at all. While this coin is mildly overextended, there's no reason to short into an uptrend. It just makes no sense. So anyways, that's just me personally. Let's confirm, of course, that is the case. From the outside looking in, it appears to be, but it's hard to say. So liquidation delta is kind of high, which is good and bad. If it goes too high too fast, then it can pull back, which we're seeing a little bit there. Basically, longs taking profit. But if that delta gets too high for too long, that's when you want to pause for concern. In other words, 2 or 3 days from now, we still have that same amount of liquidation. Then market makers like, okay, we're going to take the price and drive it the opposite direction. Okay, so just know that we could see a reversal if that happens for too long. Generally speaking, the chart will reflect that we have bearish divergence at that point too. So very premature right now to consider a short with this coin. Take a look, of course. Let's double check the open interest, and we can see heaviest amount of open interest at 195 to 185. So these are two heavy concentrations of areas that people are very confident in taking longs with, which basically implies the price pulls back to that range, the likelihood of further upside is greater, okay? Or bouncing off that level is likely. So 195 to 185 is a support range for this coin, and we'll go ahead and mark that on the charts. What I'll do is I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord so you can see that. For right now, I have my fib levels pulled up from the local high to the local low. You want to be careful just consistently moving your fib levels up. You want to wait for the daily candlesticks to close. So I'm just going to leave this here for the moment. I will update it when I post our playout chart, but it's really common for coins to reject at this 1.618 fib level. So if we do see the price continue higher up for Fetch, we're looking at 215 as a rough estimate for an initial top. Okay. Otherwise, it would also make sense for local high to be retested here, which would put us at 175 roughly. However, no, 185, 195, those two pockets of interest for open interest on this coin. So really just implying we have a chunk of support here in the last 7 days of trading in that range where people feel confident in taking a long position there. So having said that, we just move on to the overall sentiment here. Daily time frame is going to reflect very bullish behavior. We aren't even over 70 yet in the RSI. If we break through that level, it's probably going to be a no look back situation. So at this point, money flow index is high with RSI testing a resistance. Generally, you're going to see a price break to the upside when that happens. Again, that really just reinforces the fact that we have a tremendous amount of volume to back up this price action, and that the likelihood of the price pulling back significantly is lower. That's generally just what we're looking at there. Okay, so the daily time frame is fantastic. I don't see anything bearish here whatsoever. Some people might say, oh, stochastic is diverging. We're going to short right now. That's not best practice. You wait for the second stochastic divergence because that reinforces a resistance after the overextension. We don't see that yet. 4 hour time frame. Let's go ahead and recognize this here. and just kind of see that, we're over our resistance here. Keep in mind 175, 170, right in that range is that local high that will work as a new low if the price comes down. So I'd feel very comfortable and confident in taking a long in the 170 to 175 range if that were to happen. I'm not proposing that's going to, just putting an alert there in case it does come to pass. I'd be happy to consider a long position at that level. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm expecting, or I would expect a nice pivot or bounce off that range if we were to see that retested. A lot needs to happen between now and then. And by the way, if that alert triggers, I don't just blindly jump into a 5x leverage trade. Okay. Keep in mind when I send out trade signals, these are all 5x leverage. For example, SUI 68% in 7 days. Another SUI trade, a second trade we took 17 hours, 53%. And what was it? Bitcoin 60% in 5 days. These are all very low leverage trades, folks. I 10x Bitcoin and 5x everything else. So what I'm getting at here is if that alert triggers, I'm going to jump back in the charts, make sure it's worth taking along because it may be a bearish type of divergence and it may not be worth taking along at that point. From a spot bag perspective, you can maybe consider doing that, but if you are using any form of leverage, you don't do that at all. Okay, it's not considered of your portfolio. All right. Having said that, RSIs are in fantastic shape. Money flow next right there with it. Stochastic is swinging up for the first time. MACD is trying to converge. We're over the 20-day SMA. There's a lot of reasons here as to why further upside is probable. Okay. Now, again, this is a high-risk asset because it moves fast and moves quick. These margins, to me, are just too high to want to consider a trade. That's just, again, me personally. But if your risk tolerance meets something along those lines, or perhaps you're wise, you use low leverage or low position sizing with perhaps even slightly higher leverage, that's a different story. But keep in mind, with this much price action, like the candle works are pretty aggressive up and down, you can get stopped out pretty easy if you are using too tight of margins or too high leverage. So generally best not to do that. Okay, so err on the side of caution. Don't get too crazy here. But if we see we got this local high here, that could be the next pivot and or the next bounce because of just the simple fact that we spent some time there, couldn't pass it, and we're soon to retest that. So 198/$2 is a tentative support. The best support level, honestly, 189 is that local point of control. That's averaging out that open interest at 185 and 190. So 185 to 195, rather, is a good little range here. So something to be kind of mindful of is just that kind of that pocket there, right? So again, I'll post this playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord so you can kind of see what I'm pointing at here. I'll update our fibs too and get you some more up-to-date information. So check that out. It's available here. This looks a little something like this, just kind of giving you a perspective of what coins I'm trading and where I'm planning to get in at. It's all available. Also to my FET subscribers too as well. Bitunix folks, $12,000 deposit bonus this month. Awesome, easy rewards. Even if you don't have that much, you can still get a good chunk of change. So highly recommend you check them out. They're an awesome exchange. No KYC or VPN required. If you do want to become a part of our community, of course, cryptocash.tech is a site. Link down below. I have a trading academy, community, and signals group. Okay. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks again so much for your time. See you soon.